Hi friend, I just wanted to take a minute to invite you to our Lash Biz Babes Experience 2026. This is a one-day all online event happening on May 2nd, and our theme for the year is going all in. We are shaking things up and doing it differently than anyone ever has before. This is going to be an all online event as usual, but it's going to be 100% a curated journey throughout your day as we guide you through the mindset, strategy, and passion needed to go all in on your business to make it your best year in business yet. All lash artists, estheticians, and beauty professionals are invited to join us. There will be guided sessions, interactive workshops, a panel discussion, and big giveaways happening throughout that whole day. And tickets are on sale now for only $199. Payment plans are available. Let's go all in on our businesses for 2026 together. All the details and the link for tickets are down in the show notes below. I would love to have you join us online in May.
Well, welcome to the first ever episode of Lash Biz Babes. I'm so freaking excited to get this podcast party started. My name is Erica Schramm, and I will be your host, which that's so fun to actually say. But I'm so excited to be getting this podcast launched and to get to connect with more of you because of it, and support you in building your lash businesses and your beauty businesses. So to start out with, I just want to say welcome. Thank you for being here. And just give you like a quick introduction to me and who I am. So, like I said, my name is Erica Schramm, and I am a lash business coach and a lash instructor. And I've been a lash artist for a little over 7 years now. I took my very first lash course in aesthetic school back in 2014, and I have absolutely loved every second of it. It's been an up and down journey, just like any other business owner would probably say. But I can truly say that I've loved every second of it and really love what I do. But before I went to aesthetic school, I actually was in school for business. And so I've now combined my love of the two to help you and support you in building your beauty business and building to a full clientele in your lash business. So that is a little bit about me and my background. So today I thought we would talk about, how I built my lash clientele in less than 6 months, and just kind of tell you my story about how I got into lashes and all of that fun stuff. And, the takeaways you get for today is, really, the actionable steps that you can be taking daily, the needle moving activities that you can be taking daily to build your lash clientele and build your business. So for me, my lash journey starts back in 2011 or so. My oldest sister was in cosmetology school and took a lash extension course and came home and practiced on my sisters and I and my friends. And so the first time I ever got lashes was for my junior prom in high school. This was back when they were pretty new, to my area at least, and wasn't a very widespread thing. Not a whole lot of people knew what they were. I watched my sister do them on a massage table in her kitchen as she was practicing, and I was just there's no way I could ever do that. It's way too tedious. And here I am 10 plus years later, and a whole entire lash career, and totally love it. And so I had my lashes done then. My sister actually became a trainer for a small Utah-based company, lash company, and so she would come back to my hometown and teach lash trainings in our area. And so I would go with her as the model for the students and sit through these lash trainings with her. So I had probably sat through at least 2 or 3 or more trainings before I ever took one for myself. And so then fast forward to 2014, I was going through a lot in life, decided to move from my hometown in Arizona, where I'd lived my entire life, and moved to Utah where my sister lived and decided to go to aesthetic school to be able to do lashes. Is just a way to like pass time so I could get in-state tuition. And I just figured lashes would be a good job or thing for me to be able to do while I was in school getting my degree. And that was like the business degree that I was working on. So I went to aesthetic school. And actually, in aesthetic school, I didn't love doing lashes. And that was probably because it wasn't like we didn't get to practice a whole lot. It was like you took the 2-day course and then you didn't practice or have any clients until like 3, 4, 5, 6 months later. And then you just get thrown on a lash client and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know what I'm doing. So I wasn't huge on it in school, but it was what I went to school specifically wanting to do. And so when I graduated, I got a job at like a corporate lash studio that was opening up, like a franchise studio. And I worked there for about a year. And that was really good to get like hands-on experience, but I feel like that was really the only positive I got out of that experience. It was just, I felt like I hit my max with where I could take my skills there, and I didn't enjoy working for people who weren't in the industry. So I just decided that wasn't for me, and I wanted to go out on my own, but I had a non-compete contract, and those are always fun, but I had to wait a year to be able to do lashes. And so I decided to quit and got an office job and decided I would just do aesthetics on the side. And I was doing like waxing and facials and like other services that weren't lashes because I had my non-compete. And so after my year was up with that, I was like kind of nervous to try to get back into lashes because it had been a year, and it was just like, I don't know. I'd been doing other aesthetic services and just not loving it as much as I love lashes. So I knew what I wanted to do, but it was a little scary because it's like having to start all over again, right? So I decided this is probably like had to have been like 2015, 2016 by this point. Or no, it had to have been like actually like 2016, 2017 because I quit. Yeah, so it was probably like 2017 by this point. And so I was like, okay, I'm just going to do it. Like, what? I don't have anything to lose. And so I went out and, started doing Lash clients again. It was just like friends and family at that point and trying to get more than that. But that was when going out on my own, I really was like, whoa, like this is a lot harder than like I anticipated it to be. Like there was so much more to it than just doing lashes. And at that time, like I could not find a whole lot of resources specifically for like beauty businesses and lash artists to be able to, help me grow my business. And I was just kind of lost in the sauce and, trying whatever I could, but just really not having any real direction or strategy on what I was doing. And so it took me a really long time to build my clientele the first time. So I've built a full clientele twice, and this was the first time, and it was really slow going. So I started getting a few clients. I was still working my office job at this point because I only had a few clients, so I was doing it on the side. And then I had my first baby in 2018, and every day I would sit at my office job and dream about when I could just be home with my baby and do lashes more like full time. And that was my motivation to be like, okay, I need to like pull my head out of my butt and like really sit down and go for this. Like if I really want to do it, like I can't just like sit around and hope and dream for it one day. Like I have to act on it. And so at that time I was listening to like all kinds of podcasts. Outside of the industry, there weren't really many lash podcasts back then. So I was listening to like Jenna Kutcher, like the Gold Diggers podcast, and I'm trying to think of what other ones I would listen to. Just general like business and marketing ones, I guess. Listening to a lot of podcasts, reading books, and just, really soaking in as much information as I could and like doing my best to implement it. And because of that, I started seeing, the momentum picking up, and I started getting a few more clients. After a few months, I decided to like take the plunge and to quit my job, and just stay home with my son and lash part-time, lash part-time with my son. And so I quit my job, and, that was a little scary that, with the benefits that brings and whatnot, and leaving that to go out on my own and run my own business. But I was really excited for it. I wanted to spend more time with my son, and I wanted to freaking do lashes, and that was my goal. So as I stayed home with him, that was hard in itself. Like that transition to motherhood and like that transition to trying to build my own business at the same time was very difficult for me. I think I actually dealt with a lot of like postpartum depression that I didn't realize at the time. My son had been in the NICU, and it was just a really hard time in my life. But really, what's the word I'm looking for? It was a difficult time, but it really molded me and shaped me and prepared me to be where I'm at today. So I'm thankful for it. But, my clientele was slowly continuing to build. And by 2019, I was feeling pretty dang good about where I was at with clients and how my business was going and how I was doing in like my motherhood journey. And it was getting a little bit better. And then we decided to move to like 3 hours away. Finally felt good about my clientele, and we made the snap decision to move for my husband's job. And I was really nervous about restarting my clientele because it was like, man, it took me a few years to get to where I'm at right now. And it was a lot of hard work. And so I was like, am I really going to be able to do this? Like, and restart from scratch and not know anybody? Like, I already didn't really know a whole lot of people where I was living before. And so then to come into a new place where I really didn't know anybody, it was a little bit of a scary thing. I had one sister here and one friend, and I didn't know anybody else outside of that. So we made the snap decision to move, and 2 weeks later, I found myself living in a new town, and like, okay, what am I going to do? But I knew one thing, and that was that I really, really, really wanted to do lashes. Like I mentioned a little bit earlier, my transition into motherhood was a lot more difficult than I anticipated. Like, I don't know what I really expected, but it was just really difficult for me. And my mental health was really poor at this time. It had gotten a little bit better into 2019, but I was still really struggling. And I was like, I really want to do lashes. And like, I just really wanted to have something for me outside of, all my other responsibilities of like being a mom and a wife and a house, like a home, a homemaker. I'm like, can't think of the word, and all of these other responsibilities and titles I had. I wanted to do something for me. So I was really determined in that. So once we moved, I looked into a bunch of different places to like booth rent or just to work in them. And none of them were really feeling right or aligned. Like, I had really felt this pull for a long time at that point, like a year or two, that I just really wanted to be out on my own and, build my own business and not have to listen to anybody else. Like, that sounds like a funny thing, but, like not having to listen to anyone else. But that was really what I wanted to do. And so as I was looking into these different places, nothing was really feeling right. And then I was almost about to go into a salon where it was like not really what I was looking for, but better than some of the other ones I had looked at. And was getting ready to sign on with them, and my sister sent me this like Facebook Marketplace listing for like a private room for rent for aesthetics. And so I was like, I'll go look at it. Might as well. I looked at all these other places, and it was like 3 minutes from my house. And it's this tiny little windowless room where I was like, and the rent was decent. Like, it was stretchy for me at the time, but like not super expensive that it was just like totally out of the question. And I was like, you know what, this really could work. And it makes me laugh thinking back on, because I asked my husband at the time, like, what do you think I should do? I'm not really sure if I should go for it, if I should work under someone else. And he just was like, Erica, you already know you're going to do what you want, so you might as well. He's like, I don't even know why you're asking me. Just do it. Like, just go for it. And so I ended up deferring my student loan payment at the time to pay the rent on this room and go out on this limb and rent it with no clients. Which is crazy for me to like say even now, just because like I had no clients. And I just went and rented this room. And that was a really like scary thing at the time, and like a big risk for me to take, because it was like, okay, I paid the rent for the first month, but I have no idea how I'm going to pay the rent for the next month. And I don't have any clients on my schedule yet. So like, let's just do it. So I sat down and like broke down all the numbers. I like am a nerd and I totally love math. And so I sat down and I broke down the numbers and figured out, like how many clients am I going to need to at least like break even and like pay all my bills that I need to pay and pay like the rent on this room for next month. So I figured out it was like I needed like 15 clients to break even. So I was like, okay, 15 people, I can frickin' do that, right? Let's go for it. And then, just like got to work from there. And within a few months, like that first full month of lashing, I ended up making like $1,800 that month. And I was like pretty dang proud of myself. I'm like, I still look back on it and I'm proud of myself over it, because I had 0 clients going into that. And I didn't know anybody. And I lashed part-time and made $1,800 in that first month. And I was like, oh, hell yeah. Like, I am the shit. Like, I felt so good about that, and it gave me a lot of confidence to like continue to build on that momentum that I had started and just continue to grow on that. And I think that was a really big turning point for me to be like, okay, I can do this. Like, this is working, and I just need to keep on going, because there was a lot of moments where I questioned myself, like, what am I doing? Is this gonna work? Should I just give up? And should I just stay home? Should I get a different job? But I was like, no, like, this is working. I cannot give up on my dreams right now. Like, I have to just keep going. So kept going with it, kept doing what I was doing. And within a couple of months, I was booked out like 1 to 2 weeks at a time. And I was like, okay, like, this is pretty awesome. It's only been like, I think it had only been like two, maybe 3 months at that point. But that was also the time when COVID hit and all of the shutdowns started to happen and all of that was happening. And so I had just recently found out I was pregnant, and I didn't really know how that would affect it if I were to get sick, how it affect my baby and myself. And I was really kind of nervous. Where I live did not have like a mandated closure, which, I mean, business wise for me, financially for me, was, somewhat of a blessing where I didn't necessarily have to close. They just like, quote unquote, like strongly recommended it. So because of the strong recommendation and me being pregnant, I decided to close for a month. And that was really scary too. So it's like, I just started my business. I just got this going. I'm doing so well. Like, I'm feeling so good about this. And now I have to close down. And I was just like, dang, like, I'm really scared. I remember I literally cried on my Instagram story over it. But I mean, obviously that time March 2020 was a really just scary and, unprecedented time for everybody. So I just told myself, I'm really just going to have to trust that I am on the right track and that I can continue this momentum when I come back to it. And really just trust that the connections that I formed with my clients thus far are strong enough to withstand this closure and however long it would end up being. And I was really fortunate to have only been closed for, I think it was like 4 weeks, where they took it back from being like strongly recommended and just had really specific guidelines that you needed to follow if you were going to be open. And so I stuck to that, opened back up, and it was crazy because I was even busier than I was before I closed. Like, I don't know what the deal was with that, but like it just picked up so quickly. And within a couple months of that, I was like booked out, 2 to 3 plus weeks at a time, and just like crazy busy with the hours I was working. And so I was working evenings and Fridays and Saturdays when my husband was home to be with my son, and just totally booked out. And so, by that summer, I was like, wow, this is like just blowing my mind. Like, I'm fully booked. Like, I have a full clientele. I just felt so thankful. I was able to build that in less than basically 6 months. And thinking back on that, my first experience with building my clientele, where it went really slowly, and then my second experience with building a full clientele, where it just went like that. What I reflect on that, it's like, what's the differences between those two experiences, and why did it pick up so much the second time versus the first? So I think one of the first thing, as I reflect on that really helped push me was having, taking that risk of renting the room, even though I didn't have any clients, and just having those external motivations. Because before I was lashing from home, it quote unquote didn't matter if I didn't get clients because I wasn't out anything. Like, I wasn't having to pay extra rent. There weren't any extra costs incurring if I didn't get clients. And so, having that external motivation of like, I have to pay the rent next month no matter what, no matter how many clients I have. And that really pushed me to like act on it more and like put in the work every day because I had external motivation to do so. So I think that was one of the biggest things. The second thing would definitely be just the fact that I was putting in the effort every single day. Like, it really, truly knowing why I wanted to do it, and, knowing that there's no other options for me. Like, I'm doing this no matter what. Like, I had decided on what I was going to do, like decided on building this full clientele, and just knew I was going to make it happen no matter what. Like, I didn't know how I was going to get there, but I just knew I was going to do it. And then I, took the aligned action. You made the decision and took the aligned action along with it and put in the effort every day, and took baby steps every day to work towards my goal. And that made such a big difference the second time around as well. And then the third thing was really just getting intentional with the way I was marketing myself and the way I was getting in front of local people. So the first time, I basically just had like an Instagram page that was like, but had no like clear direction on what I was doing on it. It was just kind of like doing whatever and like posting and hoping and praying someone would book with me. But the second time around, I got super intentional with it and just, was doing everything I could to get in front of local people, to network with other local businesses, to get my name out there. I had like my Instagram page and my Facebook page, and I set up like Google My Business and just really strongly established my business online so that if people were coming to like online to look for a business like mine, they would be able to find me. And that I would also have opportunities and ways to connect with people, and just let them get to know me and who I am and like what I do and what I offer and like the services I do, and to do those two things simultaneously and make those connections to build my clientele. And that really paid off well for me. So like I said at the beginning of the episode, your actionable, like tangible takeaways from today. So like I talked about, like taking little baby steps every day, because all these little baby steps will add up and take you so long, like such a far distance in your business than before. All of them add up. All of the little things, all of the little details you do add up to make such a big difference in your life and in your business. And so it's really these little baby steps that you take every day that get you to your goal. And so for me, when I was doing, taking these little baby steps as I was building my clientele the second time around, and when I built it really quickly, my actionable items that like needle moving activities, things that are going to really move the needle in your business and get you some traction and get you clients. So there are 3 like main needle moving activities. And so those are: 1, getting seen by potential clients. This is super important to being able to build your clientele, and especially to build it quickly, is getting seen by potential clients, because potential clients are going to be people in your area who are ready, willing, and able to book an appointment with you. And like having other lash artists and family and friends and stuff like on your pages, that's great. But if they're not in your area and they can't potentially book an appointment with you, that's not going to help you build your business at all. Like followers and how many followers you have and all of that is just vanity metrics if it's not getting you the results that you want. And so we really want to get intentional with getting in front of local people and building your local following. Like I talked about a little bit earlier, networking with local businesses, getting in front of local people any way you can, interacting with them online, joining like Facebook groups in your area, and really just taking little baby steps every day to get in front of people, whether that's tagging local locations, using local hashtags. Like there's so many different opportunities and ways for you to be utilizing to get in front of potential clients. And that should be a really intentional goal of yours every single day, and a needle moving activity for you every single day. And then the second one is communicating how you serve your clients. Anyone can give a great service, but it's really comes down to, what do you do for your clients beyond just the service that makes you unique or that your clients love? Or like, how do you serve your clients? What do you do for them? What's your experience like? What are they going to love about coming to you specifically? So this could be things like, I had a really comfy lash recliner, and so that was something I talked about online because it attracted in people because they want that good experience of having a comfy lash recliner. If you have any extras for people, if you have like a really comfortable lash bed, if you use like gel pads and to make it the service really comfortable for them, or whatever, all these little details that you do. You have really good retention, anything like this. Like these are the things that you should be talking about in your content online so that people know what you do for your clients other than just like lashes or brow laminations or whatever other beauty services that you offer. Because that's what's going to set you apart online. So that's a really important thing, to be communicating daily and just getting out there daily. And whether that's online or in person, like there's so many different ways to build your clientele. It's not just about Instagram, but any platform that you utilize, any in-person opportunities that you utilize, that is a really important part of just communicating what you do. If you only had like a minute to tell people what you do in your business to try and get them to book with you, you probably wouldn't just say, like, I do lash extensions, book an appointment with me. Like, you would be like, oh, I do lash extensions and here's all the great things I do and why you should come to me. Like, you're going to sell them on it, right? Like, that's what you need to do online and in person as well. Like, talk yourself up. Like, tell them all the good things about coming to you and why they're going to love it. So that's the second thing for your needle moving activities. And the third and final one we're going to talk about is connecting with your followers or potential clients or locals in your area. So this is a little bit different than getting seen by them. Getting seen by them is really just letting them know that you exist, but actually making connections with them is different in the fact that, you're reaching out, not like cold DMing, but just like making connections. You're letting them get to know you. Basically, my take on this is like you're making friends online with people in your area and letting them get to know you, finding things that you have in common, and just really letting them see the face behind the business, because people buy from people. So when they can make that connection with you and they can start to get to know you and like you and trust you, that's going to go a long way in converting like followers and people online into paying clients in your beauty business. So these are your 3 needle moving activities to do every single day. Get seen by potential clients, communicate how you serve your clients beyond just the service, and also connecting with your followers, potential clients, or locals in your area, and really just making friends. That's what it comes down to. Being genuine, making friends, letting them get to know you. So I hope this was way helpful for you. I'm so dang excited to be having this podcast now, and we're going to have weekly episodes, and we already have some freaking killer guests lined up to come and talk to you guys and share their expertise with you, and I can't wait for it. So if this was helpful for you today, I would love for you to share this with your lash besties and share a screenshot on your Instagram page, and we've got a lot of good things coming up for you. So thank you for listening today, and I will be back next week with our next episode.